Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing episode of Immigrants Masters Unite, where immigrants unite and transform lives. That's right. This podcast is all about helping you transform your life, your business, and the world around you. And I'm your host, Polish Peter. Now, you may or may not be an immigrant entrepreneur or business owner. However, on this particular podcast, I really get to talk, dissect, strategize, and get into the minds of successful immigrants who sometimes came to the United States starting from nothing and created a powerful, successful, abundant life for themselves. And on this particular call, I have such a gentleman. His name is Mohamed Arshadi, and he is originally from French Morocco, and he came here at a younger age, and he's been in this country for a very long time. And he came here originally to study medicine, and he received a bachelor's in science from John Fisher College and a master's of doctorate in entomological sciences. I'm not really sure what that means. What does that mean, entomological sciences?
It's the study of insects, the study of bugs.
All right. Very cool. Awesome. So since then, he has become a student of the American dream. And after 48 years living here and living the American dream as a student or an employee or a small, large corporation, taxpayer, homeowner, business owner, right? Husband, father, he has retired and he has rewired and became an active entrepreneur. And his mission is to really give back to the community, to the country and the world, showing people how to actually live the American dream. He lives in Georgia right now with his wife, Connie, and two barking little brothers called Rio and Fredo. Now, one thing that I want to share with you guys here, and we're going to talk about on this particular podcast a little bit, is he wrote the book that helps people assimilate into U.S. It's almost like a manual for helping them get into this country and getting settled. So first and foremost, I want to welcome you to that call, Mohamed. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your story of coming here to the United States?
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Thank you for the opportunity. It started back in 1970. I had just finished a high school. I was attending a French Jesuit high school in Morocco. It was an agricultural school. And I was fortunate enough to receive a soccer scholarship, to come to study medicine in the United States.
Very cool.
So that started back in 1970. And as you said, I went on to college and grad school and married my wife, Connie, and have two beautiful daughters. And I was really, since the day one, I was living the American dream, which is my American dream in a reality.
Right.
I don't really preach to anybody that my American dream is everybody's dream, but I think there are a lot of basic fundamentals about the American dream that anybody and everybody can appreciate, whether you live in the United States or whether you contemplate to come in the United States. So I was the blessed one. I was given the opportunity to come to the States in 1970, September 9th, 1970, I landed in New York City, not speaking a word of English, but I loved every minute of it.
All right. Very cool. I love that. Listen, I mean, so here's the thing. Let's talk about the American dream. I remember when I came here when I was 14 years old, didn't speak any English either. And what I knew about America is from the movies, right? So I saw some movies, and one of those movies that I saw was the Beverly Hills Cop. And this was the one where he was in in Beverly Hills in California. So my view of the American dream was palm trees, beautiful weather, beautiful, I'm the 14-year-old boy, beautiful women, you have beautiful, huge houses, skyscrapers, nice cars, wealth, money, and all that kind of stuff. That was my view of American dream when I was coming here, what it looks like. Now, the thing is, I landed in Detroit. Actually, I landed in Chicago, and the next day drove to Detroit here with my mom. And I was like, well, where are the palm trees? And where's all the stuff that I saw, right? So
where's the beach?
Right, where's the beach? Where is the palm trees? Where is all that stuff? I'm in Detroit, right? So my question to you is, what is your definition of the American dream?
Just to touch on something you mentioned, the only thing I knew about America really when I was ready to come to the United States is that I watched a movie, a famous movie. You've probably heard of it. It's called West Side Story.
Mm-hmm.
In that movie, in my last year in that high school, a group of us actually played a little bit about that movie. So that kind of right there really injected something in my mind about America. And I really started thinking, dreaming what it would be like to be in the middle of New York City and see all those fun things that people were doing in the movies.
Right.
But really, my American dream, after I lived most of it, still living it, is really fulfillment and a place where you have an opportunity to do the best you can do. Because that's really what the American dream, because it's available to anybody and everybody if they just want to have the right mindset. If you want to do good, if you have a good life, and if you want to make a good life for your family and your friends and relatives, and you have the opportunity to do it in this United States of America, that for me is the American dream.
Right.
The opportunity for everyone to do the best they can.
Right. Awesome. I love that description and that how you worded it, because obviously, well, for some people might not be obvious, but obviously for me, that American dream has since changed since I was 14, right? It's not just about all the palm trees and all that kind of stuff. My definition now in what the American dream is, and I do this with all of my coaching students when I coach them, is that what is your vision for your life, right? And looking at all the opportunities that are available here in the United States, whatever that vision for your life is, that is your American dream. And the great thing I think about the American dream is it's so customized, right, to your own life. And as long as you view, and I think a lot of immigrants that come to this country, they really look at U.S. as the land of opportunity. And that defining that for yourself, I think is important to first and foremost, right? I mean, would you agree?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. One of the things that I remember vividly, when I started thinking about my trip to America is the freedom that it provides in this country to do a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I know that some of us sometimes feel that we are discriminated against, but not all Americans are really bad people. Most of them are good people.
Right.
And when you are given the freedom really to perform and use your best talents and skills, to me, that's really what's important, because it's really, we talk about equality in the United States. In the real sense, in the Constitution, everybody is equal. You are given the opportunity to show what you can do. And that's exactly why really when I started encouraging people who want to come to the States is to have the right mindset. Come prepared, because you're going to compete. It's not easy to live in the United States these days, in the economy today. But if you are prepared, I think you have talents and you have knowledge and you have a lot of good stuff that you can offer to this country and this community.
Exactly. Awesome. Very good. So let's talk about the mindset then. Let's talk about the mindset of immigrant coming to this country. What is your view of what that mindset should be like?
Well, I start really my book. Chapter 1 is the proper mindset. And my thinking about doing that is I ask the question that I'm asking myself 48 years later. Why America? Why the United States? So, do you know anything about this country? Why do you want to come to this country? Are you prepared to come and live in this country? What is your mindset? Is your mindset to come and do the best you can? Or is your mindset just to come and find a job? What is your mindset? And the proper mindset for me is if you're going to really sacrifice a lot, because we all do sacrifice being immigrants. I mean, we leave our family behind, we leave our country behind, we leave our friends behind, and we come prepared to do something good for us and for our families.
Mm-hmm.
So I really encourage people to think about it before they even make the move, because America sounds beautiful, but it can be very challenging. It can be tough. It's very competitive. Unless you have something valuable to offer to this world and to this country and to this community, don't expect people to embrace you 100% if you are not willing to work hard, because, as you know, Peter, Americans and immigrants also in America work really hard, and they respect the people who work hard.
Right.
So when you come prepared, have the mindset to be a working person. And by that, I mean, bring your knowledge, bring your intelligence, bring your whatever energy, enthusiasm you have, everything you have to be the best you can be. And believe me, once you do that, you will be embraced, you will be accepted very easily than if you did not have all of those things going out for you. So
yeah, I like that, because what I'm hearing you say is, before you even come out to this country or thinking about coming into this country, is having some kind of a vision for what you want your life to look like here. Like, and the why you want this to be like that, because of the fact that when you have that why defined, that vision defined, coming here is going to, when you land, whether it's in New York or in Detroit, in Chicago, wherever it may be in this country, it gives you a different purpose. It gives you a different direction, right? It gives you some clarity. It gives you something to go after, to be able to assimilate, to be able to get into the community and ask the right questions, right? Talk to the people and get out there, actually. Because I think what happens a lot for people is, especially if you don't speak English, right? You come into the country and either you become kind of like boxed into your own environment, or you just start interacting with the people in the same culture or whatever the case may be. And then it's a lot harder to learn the language and all that kind of stuff. Right?
I agree with you. One of the things really that fascinates me myself is when we land in the United States, and I have so many people asking me, if I can help them get to the United States. And one thing that I miss myself before getting here is I was not prepared, really. I did not know much about the United States, the culture, the Constitution, the economy. All I want is that dream. I was fascinated by coming to a new world because I heard about it. As a matter of fact, just to give you a short story, when I was growing up in Morocco, I used to hitchhike like 12 miles to go to college.
Okay.
And at that time, we used to have a lot of Americans living in that small town by the beach, and they were driving beautiful cars, old American cars. And a lot of them used to give me a ride to college. And I didn't speak a word of English. They didn't speak a word of Arabic or French to me. But, it just built a nice relationship, because these two people really used to pick me up every time at 7 o'clock in the morning. I see them come in and I say, oh, my God, I got the ride to college. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to really make it. So right there and then, I knew I had something in my subconscious about the American life and the American dream. And all I want to do really today is make sure that people are prepared. Come prepared. So at least if you're going to sacrifice your life and life of your family, know as much as you can before you come. And also, more importantly, Peter, don't come judgmental. Don't judge.
Right.
Come and learn. Come and see. You will get the chance to give your opinions later on. But right now, I know you watch a lot of social media, watch a lot of televisions, and you have an idea about the American life.
Mm-hmm.
But really, until you live within, whether it's a college or whether it's a community, you don't know really what people are like. And I happen to like a lot of people, because I'll tell you what, Phil, Peter, they helped me a lot. helped me grow up. They helped me become what I have become, really. So I love this country, and I love the people. Most of the people. Now, there are some bad people just like everywhere,
Yep.
but I don't let them interfere with my life. So,
Right. Listen, the one thing that you said, I think that struck out, and it's not only for people who are coming to this country, but also for anybody who actually is already living in this country.
right.
Maybe they came here, they'd already been living here for a few months or a few years or whatever it might be. The fact that you said, setting aside the whole judgment, not having a judgment about specific people or specific way that this country is being run or how specific anything in reality, anything really,
Sure.
communities or people or places, whatever. And just setting that aside and coming into this, right mindset in that way will allow you, I think, as a person to see a whole different world and see the opportunities that are here that are being presented. Because I think what happens a lot for people is when there's the judgment, you don't allow yourself to see the opportunities that could be right in front of your eyes.
Sure. That's why I said, come prepared to work hard,
Mm-hmm.
come prepared to learn, come prepared to share your own culture, your own ideas, because quite honestly, you want to make friends, because friends are going to help you in school. They're going to help you when you get a job. They're going to help you in business. So you don't want to make enemies here. You want to make friends. And that's the only
Right.
way you're going to reach your American dream, because that's what it's all about. Get a good job, get a good education, get a good family life. That's what the American dream, at least in my view. And in order to accomplish that, you'd have to have the right mindset again. And the right mindset is to be open-minded. Just come and learn, see what's going on, learn. And once you get to that point where you're able to offer your opinion or your judgment or whatever, you will have plenty of opportunity. Believe me, you can write a book on that. You can
That's
have
right.
your own movie if
Right.
you want. This is America. You could do a lot of good things, but get there first. Please
Exactly.
don't come and just start judging people. And the other thing is, open yourself to the culture. I tell people sometimes, and I was a victim of that. When I was in New York City, for instance, with a lot of Moroccan friends, we used to get together. We used to listen to the Moroccan music, make Moroccan food. And yes, we used to enjoy that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I felt that we were not really penetrating or getting involved with the communities we live
Mm-hmm.
in, the American community, because that's
Right.
how you learn to speak better English, how to learn the culture, and a lot of other good things.
Right. So yeah, I agree with it, getting out of there, because I know certain people that even, they come in, and it's a lot harder to learn the English language when you're within the same, culture that you came
Right.
from, right? If you're all speaking Polish, it's a lot harder to learn English, right? When
Yeah.
it's a workplace or whatever the case may be. So it's very interesting that, in the first chapter, we talked about the mindset. Second chapter in the book, you talk about English language, right?
Now,
Elaborate on
the
that.
second chapter is about goals and plans.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. And then third chapter, the most important one for me really is, after these two chapters, is the learning the English language. And to me, the language is everything in the United States. And I think, as you know, the majority of Americans have voted and said, we want everybody to speak English if they want to live among us.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to learn French or Spanish or Polish. We live here. And if you're going to come and live with us, come prepared to speak our language, because it makes a lot of sense to me. Because when I was ready to go to school, I couldn't go right away to college because I had to learn English first. Because all the courses for medicine, medical school, pre-med were in English.
Right.
So for me to really succeed and pass courses in college, I had to learn the English language, and not just learn the English language, learn the good English language. So I really kind of spent 6 months. So that's 6 months of my time and a lot of money enrolling in a business school in New York while I was doing part-time just to learn the English.
Wow.
So that's why I say, to people, if you can learn the language at home, whether you do it online, whether you go to libraries and you go to consulates and embassies, they have a lot of different things that can help you learn the English language. So when you land in Chicago or LA or New York, at least you can communicate. Because I felt at that time, I felt left out because my friends who spoke English, they were really having fun with girls. They were having fun with other people. They were having fun with teachers because they could speak. They could communicate.
Right.
I could not. I kid
Yeah.
you not. We used to go out to lunch in New York City, where they sell those hot dogs in the street.
Right.
But I couldn't even order my lunch. I had my friends order for me because I couldn't say, can you please give me a hot dog and a can of soda or a cup of coffee or whatever? I couldn't do it. So you feel like something is missing, man. I was just like, oh, man, I wish I could speak English like these guys are doing it, because then I will be living really the real dream,
Exactly.
So English is really critical. I mean,
Yes.
to me, you can't go to school. You can't get a good job in a good company. You can't run a business. You can't communicate with people and live among them if you don't speak the language.
I agree with that, and I know it's, when I came here, I always kind of joke around because of the fact that I have an accent, right?
Right,
And
right.
and I joke around that the reason why I have an accent, because when I went to school here, I had 2 English as a second language classes. They call them ESLs.
Yeah.
And the one was taught by a lady who was Arabic. She had an accent. And the other one was Albanian with an accent. So that's where that whole mixture, Polish, Albanian, Arabic came together. And that's where I'm from. But so here's the thing. One thing that at the beginning of my journey here, when I finally learned the language, I was worried about this accent and how people are looking down on me or they're not respecting me and all that kind of stuff because I have an accent, right? And maybe I say things that it's not clear or whatever the case may be. And it really stopped me in performing in life.
Yeah.
And I remember to a point when I was early in my marriage, when I was married, I would be on the phone with, let's say, a cable company, and I would talk to them for about 10, 15, 20, half an hour, couldn't get the problem solved. And then my wife would get on, and she was born here. She talked for 2 minutes and got the problem solved. And that just gave me like, oh, see, there it is, right? So why am I saying this? I am saying this because, like we mentioned in the beginning of this call, a lot of it has to do with the mindset. Right now, my view of my accent is it benefits me. It helps me. It drives me. It creates who I really am. So for the listeners, whether you have an accent, whether you're just learning English or you're just starting out or whatever it may be, just take it on. Be powerful about it. Stand, behind it and use that to your advantage, because I think the fact that you are from another country, you have different experiences, different culture, whatever, makes you unique. And that's the great thing about what you can do. So what I want to ask you is, you talked about land of opportunity, the United States. I strongly believe that this is the land of opportunity. Talk a little bit about that and how you because a couple of things that I've heard you say. One is you have a vision before you come here. Then the next thing we talked about having goals, set yourself goals, and then learning the English language. So with those 3 things, now you look at the United States as the land of opportunity. So let's talk about that for a minute. What does that look like?
Sure. One of the things that I learned early, speaking about the accent.
Yeah.
When I moved from New York City to Rochester, New York, that's where I went to college, St. John Fisher College. I met so many good people. And you know what they used to say? 2 things. You speak great English. I knew they were not telling me the truth. But they were so nice, they would say that. And the second thing is, they loved the accent. They said, "Oh man, you sound like Omar Sharif or some movie stars,"
Right.
because I mean, there were a lot of TV shows like Lucille and a few other people where people had accents, strong accent, and they could really relate to those things. So, to me, the opportunity was. Well, I grew up with the Jesuits, the French Jesuits, and they have good education and they believe in working hard, do the best you can. And I knew that if I do the best I could, if I tried hard, whether I do good in school or do good in work, at work, part-time I was doing while going to college, do good as a soccer player, do good as a speaker sometimes when we used to, participate in French clubs and other clubs. I knew that if you do all those things right, you are creating that opportunity yourself in the opportunity within the country. Because, I always say this to people when they ask me, how is it living in America? I said, look, people don't ask you when you go into this beautiful hotel, like in Plaza Hotel in New York, or people don't ask you if you're wearing jeans or you're wearing sandals. They don't ask you whether you have money or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I mean, if I were in Morocco or other countries, for instance, Monaco, I went to Monaco, by France, they wouldn't even let you get closer to the casinos because you don't look like you are the type of guy
Really?
who you might have $1 million in your pocket, but they look at you and they say, well, maybe you don't belong here. As a matter of fact, it happened to me. My brother and I went from Nice to Monaco just to take a look.
Yep.
They wouldn't let us stay. They said, you got to go back to Nice.
Wow.
Because we looked like students at that time. Obviously, we didn't have much, They would not let us get close to the casinos. But if you are here in the United States in Las Vegas, you can go to any casino.
Exactly.
The best casinos, they have their doors open, man.
No, yeah, they want to keep you in there too.
$1 million or you have 20 cents. They don't care, you know. And that is really what I call the land of opportunity. A land of opportunity is it gives you a chance to compete. I'm not saying that if you don't have what it takes, you're going to succeed all the time, but at least you have a chance to enter that field of opportunity. And exactly. I found it here better than anywhere else, I believe. And that's what I really, when I refer to the land of opportunities, everybody is getting a chance if you want to work hard, if you want to do something good, if you behave, because, a lot of people do certain things that society in general doesn't accept. So don't get into that.
Exactly.
Be a good citizen. That's right. What I say,
Yeah. There's a lot of wisdom behind what you're saying here. And, when you look at life in that way, I think the opportunities show up for you. And when you are that person who's persistent, who don't quit, who work, and do those things will happen for you. You just got to stay on track and be persistent. So let's talk about something for a second is, do you have any kind of, because obviously you've lived life, you've had successes in life, you've accomplished things in life. I spoke to you before the call, and you now have a foundation that you want to give back to the community and all that kind of stuff, which shows me your heart. If you could tell us, maybe give the listeners some strategies, because listen, if you're an entrepreneur, this is your calling. This is what you want to do in life. It's not the easiest road to take. However, if this is what you want to do, how would you go about doing that? Do you have any tips or strategies for people to go about doing that? The entrepreneurial track, the entrepreneurial mindset.
Yes. It's a great question. And here is what I come from, really, is that, I just turned 69, a couple of days ago, January 7th.
Wow, happy birthday.
And, and it comes a time in life where really you ask yourself this important question: what is my purpose in life? What is our purpose in life? We're here just to watch TV and go to football games and eat. And, what is the purpose? Well, to me, it made sense to say my purpose is to give back, especially to the community and the country that gave me this opportunity. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not done yet. I still have a lot to accomplish because I believe that. I believe that if I want to make $10 million in the next 2 years, I'm able to do it because this is the place where you can do it. And here is why, Peter, because people are good in this country. They're really good and they are generous. They give when they know there is a good cause. And maybe a lot of them are immigrants like me who really want to give back. So when I started thinking after I retired, what am I going to do? I enjoy playing golf and I enjoy doing certain things like that, but that's all there is to it? No, I want to give back. So I said, well, talking to some friends, they say, well, why don't you write a book? And I always wanted to write a book, many, many years, And all of a sudden, somebody offered me an opportunity to write a book in 30 days or less. I said, wow, that's impossible. They said, no, it's possible. If you write 10 minutes a day, you can write a chapter. You'll have 10 chapters after 30 days. It did. It worked. Here's the book, really,
Awesome.
to prove it, But the other thing that I really wanted to do more than just the book is this dream I had when I was growing up in Morocco, because I noticed there were a lot of children, poor children, who could not get education, who could not get good medicine and good health and all that stuff. And it was always something in my mind that if I had the opportunity, if I went to a point where I can really help build schools and hospitals for children, needy children, all over the world. I know it takes a lot of money to build a small school, but you got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to myself, well, I know there are a lot of generous people in the US and around the world. There are a lot of people who want to help. They just don't want to get involved with it because they say, okay, I'll give you the funds, but I don't want to get involved. Well, that's okay too, So I said, I'm going to start really a family foundation. And I already communicate with several nonprofit organizations who really are building clinics and hospitals in African countries and South American countries. And I started really communicating with them. And they said, look, if you can help us, it doesn't take much sometimes, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 to build a little, room within a major hospital. That's all it takes. It doesn't take millions of dollars, And I said, well, that's a good start, just start doing that. So my advice to people is if you really want to give back to the community, give back what you think you can give with your talents. People don't have money, they can give their time. People don't have time and money, they can give their ideas, their suggestions, their coaching, their whatever you can do within a community. That's how you really give back, but that's how you really get rewarded as well. Because, we all say, giving is better than receiving. But in reality, really, when you help people get what they want, you get what you want in return. So that is really my idea of, if you really want to get somewhere, well, help somebody get somewhere first.
Yeah, I love that.
As a result, you will get there yourself,
Exactly. I love that because ultimately it's like, because if you think about it, I think when you are giving somebody something, when you, whatever it may be, time, money, resources, whatever, yourself, when you're giving something out there, you're doing it because you love doing that.
Sure.
And that's going to get you closer to where you want to go. And I truly believe that when you are out there helping other people, these opportunities, you're going to be blessed with whatever you're trying to go after. So I think it's a great advice. And a couple other things that I heard you say that I want to make sure that the listener heard is, one, the thing about having a purpose, I think for us who are fulfillment comes from having a purpose in life. Because a lot of times when people don't feel fulfilled, they don't have the purpose of what they want to do. Why am I here? Why did I come here on this earth, and why am I out here? I mean, and I believe that every single person has their own purpose. Some of them are big, some of them are small, but they're not insignificant. So just look for that and see what your purpose is. And it doesn't have to be a big hospital. It could be just your time with someone for half an hour or whatever it might be. But I think it's important for us to look at it that way. The other thing that I've heard is, and I love that about you. You mentioned that you're 69 years old and you said, I have still so many things to do, so much that I want to accomplish. And that is a great mindset right there, because I know some 69-year-olds, even 60-year-olds, who are basically like, you know what? I'm retiring. I'm done. And they kind of like, they just stop living, and that is such a huge difference. And I think it helps you create so many more amazing things in life for yourself, family, and everybody. So,
you're 100% right, Peter, because, especially when you arrive at a certain age, I mean, you have all the wisdom, you have all the expertise, or some of the expertise. And in reality, you're cheating yourself if you don't fulfill more, because that's the time when you really start helping and start coaching and start giving advice for those who want it,
Yeah.
That's why I said, I mean, I have two beautiful daughters, and I encourage them and they encourage me. Actually, they are more happy than I am, because they say, Dad, we love your spirit. You're not 69. You're really a lot younger than you. And I said, yeah, because it's in the mind.
Right.
You got to be young in your mind. Yeah, the body is going to deteriorate eventually, like everybody else. But the mind is really what keeps you going.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. That's so cool. All right. Listen, I want to respect your time. I think you give up some really good. I have one question, I think, actually, before I go into my Polish Pillars final round. Just popped into my head. I figure I ask. I'm sure that at some point in your life, you've gone through some failures. You've done some things. Any lessons that you've gotten out of those that you would be willing to share? Because, I mean, listen, I love listening to you because you have so much wisdom that you can pass on. I just want to pass it on to listeners.
I learned from many, many people, many coaches, just like yourselves, when you fall, get up and keep going. Don't let failures, no matter what. I ran several businesses. Many of them failed. I mean, I was even getting involved myself, close to bankruptcy. Those things are going to happen. But if you believe in yourself, you believe that you have what it takes to succeed, because you don't succeed right away. I heard just this recently from one of my mentor. He said, just think of a baseball player, how many strikes they get before they get a hit or a home run.
Right.
They don't dwell on how many strikes they have. They just focus on when they hit that home run. That's important. So yeah, failure is part of really life, and it's part of business. You learn more from failures than from successes in reality, So
right.
There's a good example of many successful millionaire and billionaires, and all of them have the same story to tell you, that you have to fail first before you can really succeed. So to me, embrace failure. Don't let it get to you. Get up and try it again.
Yeah, I always
every day is a different day.
Exactly.
A new day. So
right, I love that. I always tell my students, listen, failure for me is feedback.
Yeah,
I do something, gives me feedback. It's stepping stones to get to where you want to go. Those are the actual steps for you to get to where you want to go. Exactly. So it's part of the process, and that's completely fine. So, and I love that you used an analogy on baseball, because if you think about it, the people, the baseball players, the professional baseball players who are the best in the world, their percentage is like what, 30% of the time they hit the ball, right? Think about it. So that means that when they step up to that plate, 70% of the time they fail.
That's right.
Almost 3 out of 4 times they fail. But they're not focusing on the fails. They're focusing on the one time that they're going to hit that ball.
That's right.
And that's what counts. That's what matters for them. So there is a great analogy to use. All right. Awesome. Any last minute advice?
Well, I like I said, I'm giving back, and I try to reach out to as many immigrant entrepreneurs, their families, people who live here already, or people who are ready to come here. I am available. If they can afford my book, that's fine. If they can't afford it, they can go to my website and actually get a free copy, whether an ebook or a hard copy. So that's available, because really the key is not to make money out of a book, but really to share the ideas. I mean, if I can help one person, be prepared and come and live the American dream and be happy with his family, I would have accomplished my purpose, really.
Very cool.
So I encourage everybody to really believe in what you have, the talents, because as you said, we all have superpower within us. God did not create us just to be nobodies.
Right.
God created everyone with the same DNA. Now, some, of course, are not fortunate enough to carry on and to do things. But if you are healthy, if you have sound mind and you are intelligent and you can offer something to this world so we can make it a better world, then why not?
Exactly.
We all have that superpower inside us.
All right. Awesome. So let me go into my Polish Peter's final round then.
Sure.
So my first question for you then is, like, you just mentioned about the superpower. Yeah. So what is your superpower?
My smile.
All right. Awesome. Very cool.
It really makes a big difference when you smile, because it's not costly. It doesn't cost you anything. And when you smile, you create a lot of good opportunities around you and around the people who are with you. If you can make a baby smile, as I say, that's beautiful. Yeah. If you can make an old guy smile or an old lady smile, that's beautiful. Because really, anybody and everybody has that powerful smile if they can only use it.
Right.
Many people don't, unfortunately. I don't know why. If I knew, I'll tell you, Peter, but I don't know why. All they need to do is move 2 muscles, and it brightens, life. Just like, I say to speakers, like, or authors or whatever, I say when you walk into the room, it makes a big difference if you have a smile, even if you don't open your, show your teeth.
Yep.
But people can feel you have a smile on your face.
Right.
The minute you walk in, and people have told me that, and I'm flattered by that. I love it. Not only my gray hair, but my smile. They say, man, when you walk into the room where there's a party, whatever, that smile just hits me. Some people told me that, and I said, well, maybe there is something to it, So I think that's really my power. My power.
Very cool, man. You just take him out with your smile. I love that.
Seriously. Exactly.
Yeah, you bring a completely different energy into the place when you smile. Yeah. And here's the thing: I've read a study not too long ago that actually takes a lot more work, lot more muscles to have a frown than it is to take a smile.
Exactly.
So it's a lot easier to smile than to frown. So that's scientifically proven, even. That smile works.
And it really, it's powerful sometimes too, because if you don't have anything good to say, just smile or give a little smile. I know you sometimes are compelled to say something negative to somebody because you want to, but if you don't say, just smile, just nod and smile. It sends a wonderful message sometimes, because as you know, in communication, body language is important.
Right.
People feel that, if it's authentic. Obviously, you don't want to be fake. You want to be authentic, and that's important. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Next question I have for you. So what book would you recommend to the listeners? I know you have your own book, but is there any other books that you would recommend?
One book that I still read and reread all the time, maybe I'm biased a little bit, it's called The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. It's got a lot of wisdom, And the other thing I would recommend probably is, because my daughter is always recommended this, is read one of those religious books, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, or whatever. Those are really full of wisdom and full of good things, because if you focus on good things, now obviously there are many, many other beautiful books out there, whether it's political, sociological, whatever, But to me, is like, if I can get to read the Quran completely, or the Bible, or the Torah, for instance, or this book that I read all the time is really The Prophet. It's called The Prophet. It's just talks about different things and gives you different ideas about what other people think about life in general, so that you are not always, get the blinders on and you just believe what you believe and that's it. Open your minds, learn as much as you can. And that's why really learning English, going back to that third chapter, because most scientific papers and most great books are written in English. And really, if you know English, you can do so much by reading those books and magazine and watch shows and follow different things in the English language,
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Next question I have for you. One thing that you would want to share with the audience about your own country, in your case, the French Morocco. Maybe it's a custom, saying, people, whatever it might be, food.
Yeah. Thanks for that question. Morocco is well known for its beaches, the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean. In Morocco, you can go to ski and you can go and do water ski at the same time, So I recommend, a lot of people are really seeing that Morocco as a destination right now, whether it's Marrakesh, whether Casablanca, beautiful places. But the food is one of the best food that I miss myself. The couscous, for instance, is a very popular dish in Morocco. And I recommend that if people go to Morocco, or if they can find Moroccan restaurants in different places here in the US, go and try some of that, because it's really a treat when you taste some of that cuisine.
Okay. You said couscous?
Couscous, yeah, couscous.
Is there like a dessert, or is there like a meal?
No, it's a main dish. It's made up of semolina with vegetables, and some people use meat like beef or lamb. Some people make it with chicken, but I mean, it's a combination of vegetables and meat, and you have a special dish, and the semolina on top is really cooked with the steam. And when you serve it in a big platter, and it's just a different dish that most people in those countries eat it on Friday, because it's really supposed to be part of giving back to the community, because people make extra couscous and share it with the poor, which is neat.
Wow.
I mean, when you think about it, people go to the mosque, they pray, they go and get their couscous on Friday, and they share it with other people who cannot afford, obviously, to get that dish. So,
all right, very cool, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, one last question I have for you. If someone were to reach out to you, or maybe get the book that you were just sharing, how would they go about doing that?
Well, they can. I am on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. I have my website, which is rashadiassociates.net, and my number is 678-925-1183, 678-977-0160. All those things are found in the website and in the social media platforms. So I'm easy to reach if people want to reach me. Right. All I can say though is, please, when you contact me, I'm willing to help 100%, but I'm not an attorney for immigration. I do not handle visas. So just so
Exactly.
people know that, because I got a lot of people that send me messages and say, I want to come to the United States. Can you help me with the visa? I said, well, I'm sorry. I'm not into that field. So,
I got you.
yeah, I'm
All right.
easily reachable if people want to reach me. So I welcome them. Yeah.
Cool. And your book that you mentioned, that you flashed over there, is that the
Yeah.
same link that they can go to get that book?
Yeah, if they go to rashadiassociates.net and they just go to the menu where it says get a free copy of my book, so they can get a free copy of the ebook. I can email them that, or they can get a hard copy, and I can send it. They provide the address, but they can fill up all that information in there. So.
Very cool. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Mohamed.
It's also available, just to say that, in all the book retailers like Amazon's and Barnes and Noble's, Go Reads, and a few other places. So it's available everywhere if they really. But it's very reasonable. The cost is not. As a matter of fact, if people, your audience, your listeners, if they get a copy of that book and they read it and they give me a review on Amazon, I can refund them the money. How is that?
That's very cool. Love that.
Sure.
That's a good little. Cool. All right. Well, Mohamed, thank you so much for being on this podcast. I really appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your life, your failures. You talked about a lot of great wisdom, and it's such a privilege for me to sit here with you and listen to you share what you have accumulated over the years. And I love the fact that, you said at one point in the podcast, you were still not done. There's so much more that you have going on that you will be able to accomplish and go after. And based on what you've been saying, I totally believe you'll be able to do that. So for those listening, thank you so much for being on this podcast, for listening on this podcast, because guess what? Without you, this podcast would not be possible. I wouldn't be able to do this. And I do this because of people like you. So if you want to find out more about this particular podcast or listen to all the other episodes that I have, we have at this recording, over 60 of them right now. Head over to mastersunite.com. That's mastersunite.com. And you can reach out to me there. Or if you want to be on the podcast, send me a quick note. I'm on Facebook as well and all the different social media websites, and find me and just type in Polish Peter. You probably come across me. So thank you again. And Mohamed, thank you so much for being on a podcast. And I hope to come and there we go. I love the applause.
Thank you for doing this for everybody. Really, thank you for the opportunity to share. I applaud you for doing this. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Well, guys, I'll see you on the next episode. This is Polish Peter out.